Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Wednesday, the 10th of November 2021. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to use the Tarot Grand Lux for this reading. Let's see what the cards have to say about Wednesday and what you'll be working with. So I'm just going to shuffle these cards. Wednesday the 10th. Okay, so first card is the Four of Swords, the Knight of Wands, and the Seven of Coins. Oh, wow. Okay. So we've got some challenging energy here. First of all, we've got three different elements. We've got swords, wands, and coins, which is air, fire, and earth. So we've got lots of ideas. We've got your life purpose and what you want to achieve, what's important to you, and then also practical concerns, money and your environment and security. We've got no water here. Water is about your sense of connection with something bigger, a feeling that you're nurtured and supported by a benevolent higher self. It's your positive relationships with other people and feeling like other people will support you and that you're not on your own. So the fact that there's no water in this spread may make you feel like the difficulties that you're facing, you're the only person facing them. Everyone else is having a good time, but you're struggling a little bit and you're coming up against a lot of opposition and it's stressing you out somewhat and it makes you feel overwhelmed. So I think the first thing on this day, if you have a spiritual practice in place like meditation or yoga or chanting, doing something like that in the morning is important because it reconnects you with this sense of I'm okay and I'm supported. So I don't need to feel like I have to use up all my personal resources to get something done. I don't feel like it's me against the world. I feel nurtured and supported in whatever situation I put myself in. I think that'll really help to shift the perspective at the beginning of the day, and it will set you up to have a much better time because the cards themselves are somewhat challenging. The Four of Swords is about contemplation and meditation before you rush off into action. And we've got the symbol for Pluto here. So he's contemplating some sort of big change in his life, some major transformation. And that can be somewhat demanding. The Knight of Wands looks like, what's the kid's name in that Merlin story? It's the son of Morgan Le Fay. His name is Mordred, I think. Yeah, so he looks like a knight who doesn't have the best intentions at heart. We've got all these dragons here and the wings on his helmet. So this isn't someone who's fighting for the good of the people. This is someone who's fighting for power and ego and a sense of self. So the court cards are always someone who appears in your life, or it's a quality that appears within you. So if you don't get your way, you could get really annoyed and angry and engage in some sort of conflict that isn't really valid and that doesn't help anybody. Or you could meet someone who just comes at you for no real reason and you're like, hang on a minute, this is really deflating me, back off. And then the Seven of Pentacles is about reaping the rewards of your hard work. And again, I feel with the Knight being in front of this, if you don't get what you feel you want or deserve, if you don't get what you've been planning and you know that this is coming to you and it doesn't appear, you could get very frustrated and launch into something which is going to make the whole process even more complicated. So first and foremost, meditation I think is important. Then also not getting roped into arguments and conflicts which are not designed to achieve anything at the end of them. So if you are dealing with something that's challenging or problematic, make sure you keep the intended goal in mind. So if it's a difficult customer that you're dealing with, what point do you want to get to? How do you want to resolve the situation? If someone at your office comes in and just yells at you, what's the real point of all of this? What do they want to achieve? Do they want the layout to look differently, or try and get to the end result as quickly as possible and try and minimize any kind of back and forth between you and someone else? So the Four of Swords, usually we've got a soldier lying in a church and we've got a stained glass window where an angel is kind of tending to someone and guiding them and supporting them. Here we've got this knight in armor, and he's lying on this purple kind of sash and cloth. So what he's doing is he's anticipating some sort of conflict or negativity or fight that he's going to have to get involved with. And he's praying to God, he's using his kind of belief system to bless this thing that he's contemplating. And he wants it to be transformative, so he does believe what he's fighting for, and he's doing it in some sort of way that feels good and just and proper. He wants to, I don't know, free people of someone's tyranny, or he's fighting for a good cause. This is someone who is saying, universe, bless my action here. I need to stand up for the weak. I need to stand up for myself and my, I don't know, let's say my country. And I want to make the world a better place. And that's why I'm using all my energy. So please bless this venture before I ride off and I go and do it. So that's kind of interesting because the Four of Swords is saying that contemplation could actually benefit you, and getting a sense that you do have the support is really, really important in helping you get to the end. If you feel like you're all on your own and you're just doing something based on self-will and you come up against something really difficult on this day, the combination of these two cards and the lack of water, that's saying is that you could run out of steam, or you could lose your conviction if things get too tough. And if you want to see things through to the end and get a positive outcome, then it's super important on this day to recharge your spiritual batteries by connecting and by feeling like whatever it is you're doing is supported by something bigger. The Knight of Wands, the Knights are always extreme. They try and manage the energy as best they can, but they don't always succeed. So the Knight of Wands is someone who's desperately trying to live his life purpose and to create something in the world that's meaningful. Sometimes he goes off track, like he does in this card, by losing the perspective and saying, well, it doesn't need to be so meaningful, I guess. As long as I'm powerful and I'm the boss, then that might work. Maybe I'm after power and control. Ultimately, he isn't. He's about doing something that's fulfilling for him and for everybody else. And veering off into this kind of villain role is a misstep. So he's going to have to pull it back in and say, okay, what is it I'm really fighting for? He also is expecting negativity and conflict. So first of all, dealing with other people today, don't immediately assume that everyone has your best interest at heart. And if someone presents something in a way that's funny, but it doesn't feel right, you know, it's a dig covered in some sort of a compliment, or it's some sort of attack on your work or your competence or whatever it may be, someone may feel entitled to attack you. And if you're not prepared for that, like the point of the contemplation is really to say, let's look at what I'm doing. Do I feel it's justified? Do I feel it's right and good? And the answer is going to be yes, what you're doing is for a greater cause. You can keep going. You're on the right track. And it's important to know that at the beginning of this day, because if you're being completely challenged and interrupted, if you're not sure about it, you may think, wow, well, this person is coming on so forcefully or so strong that I must be wrong. So let me step back and reevaluate. And the point of this spread is saying, please don't take that step back to reevaluate. Do the contemplation in the morning and then keep going during the day, and let no one stop you from getting to where you want to go, because there's a basket of pentacles waiting for you. It's like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So there's a really good outcome to this day, but you can't let yourself be distracted. So if the Knight isn't another person coming into your life making things more complicated, then it could be this losing your temper with things that don't go your way that can really slow you down. So you were expecting the project conclusion to appear on your desk at 12 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, you haven't got it. You get really annoyed and you scream at the team who was meant to deliver it. They get really hacked off and they withhold the reports once and for all and make a complaint about you. And that totally ruins your whole project, as an example. And it's simply because you lost your temper. The Seven of Pentacles is working hard and then seeing something good come out. And it means that there is some sort of a balance here today. If you put in effort and if you work towards something, it's very likely that you'll get what you want. So if it's somewhat delayed, then keep the faith and say, I will get what I want. I'm not going to freak about this. I'll just keep going and I will see the results sooner or later. That's important. And second of all, it can say, be practical and keep doing what you're doing. You are on the right track, and sooner or later you will see the results. The only thing that could potentially destroy this is someone who's really coming after you, or your own lack of self-control, which can ruin your relationships and your circumstances. So the main warning of the day is to be understanding about what you're feeling, and to not let yourself get to that position where you're screaming and shouting and launching into tirade, because that is a lack of self-care. You know, if you're getting irritable or restless or something, you can sense that, and you can do things for yourself which are nice and which kind of bring you down. If you add more and more and more pressure, then you just wind yourself up, and then you can really blow up. And the Four of Swords is a card that's saying, relax and look at how you can transform this in a fundamental ideological way. Don't feel like every circumstance that occurs on this day is a reflection on who you are, on what you're doing. Put in the legwork, left foot, right foot, keep going. You will get a positive outcome. But don't reinvent the wheel here. Don't put so much pressure on you that you feel like you're starting all over again. Just make sure you're squared up with yourself, that you're okay with what you're working on, and then you can face whatever challenge comes your way. With a big smile on your face, you don't need to get involved in any battles. Number-wise, we've got the Knight, that's 1, and 7 is 8, and 4 is 12. 1 and 2 is 3, and 3 in numerology is communication and new beginnings. So the dialogue that you have with your higher self or the universe, that is the most important thing in helping you continue on. Feeling isolated or insulted or like you're not good enough, those are the big things to avoid on this day. And by, again, just reminding yourself in the morning of this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, that will serve as armor against any kind of attacks or perceived attacks, because then you can let them go and say, well, that's just their opinion. It certainly isn't true. Let me keep going. If you're not sure about who you are and someone comes at you and questions you, that's the big thing to avoid, to be caught off guard, because that can really delay you. So I hope you have a great day. Well, actually, the final thing about the Knight of Wands is the good thing about him being so extreme is that he's really determined to find his life purpose and to power on through. So if you're certain about where you're going and what you're trying to achieve, you can use the positive aspects of the Knight of Wands to fuel your mission, your journey, so that you can keep going. It's simply not letting him veer off into anger or being uncontrollable. So self-discipline is important on this day if you want to get to your happy place, to the outcome that you are trying to achieve, that you're working on. And not letting yourself get rattled by other people or your own anger. That's the way to manage this and to have a great success. So I hope you have a wonderful day. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.